Now, Kellyanne Conway is the counselor to the president, Donald Trump. Kellyanne Conway also might be the White House leaker and might be one of the few adults left in the room, which makes this story actually incredibly interesting because here she is on Twitter, inadvertently, or maybe not, making the case against a border wall. Now, this came after the news that there was a gigantic fentanyl bust on the border. Now, this was at a port of entry where they found a massive amount of fentanyl. Fentanyl, of course, is very, very dangerous, very deadly. And so they got caught, Border Patrol. And so now Kellyanne Conway goes to Twitter to give a lot of credit. She said, fentanyl is a word everyone should know. It kills thousands of Americans each year. 2 milligrams can be lethal. It is laced into pills, heroin, cocaine, meth, and marijuana. Our Border Patrol is amazing. They deserve more respect, more resources. Now, on that, I actually agree with Kellyanne Conway. Yes, Border Patrol does do a good job. They do need more resources in stopping things like drugs. Okay, well, why don't we give them more resources? Hey, you know what's missing in that tweet? Calls for a wall. In fact, MSNBC, as I said, reported that they had made that huge fentanyl bust. That they caught basically a truck full of fentanyl that was hidden in a truck carrying cucumbers at a border checkpoint in Nogales, Arizona. Now, that is, again, a legal port of entry and not in the middle of the desert where we would put a border wall. So that's very important that this was stopped and they did such great work without needing a border wall. You don't need a border wall to stop the drugs. She just said that. She just admitted it. So now, of course, Twitter, the internet, decided that they would join in and kind of point that out to Kellyanne. Let's start out with Rob Stark, which is great. They said, Old Own without a wall. Fairly simple. Jacob Soberoff says, CBP announces massive seizure of fentanyl at Arizona border. Guess where? Port of entry, not desert. Guess who? Mexican national, not Central American asylum seeker. Guess how? In a tractor trailer, not a backpack. Guess what didn't stop it? A wall. Agents using technology did. That's awesome. So there's more responses here. Juliet Cam says, they seized this fentanyl at the port of entry, at the port of entry, port of entry. Am I being too subtle? Now, Joyce Aline says, great job interdicting highly lethal fentanyl at border checkpoint. Trump's wall won't prevent trafficking through crossings. Putting resources towards better technology and more law enforcement officers will enable future seizures. We need policy that is smart, not a vanity wall. And she's absolutely right, because what Trump's wall is basically something that he can say, oh, I built it. I built the wall. It's a tremendous wall. It's a great wall. It is going to last for a very long time. Because that's what Trump does. He wants things built and then put his name on it so that he will be remembered. Now, Ronald Klain, he says, hey, do you get the idea that drugs were one, successfully seized, two, at a port of entry, not an open ground, actually undermines your case for declaring an emergency to build a wall? I don't think he notices that. I don't think he's going to actually mention that. Nonetheless, Len Witt adds in, the tractor trailer was stopped Saturday trying to enter the U.S. through the border checkpoint in Arizona. You didn't remember to say where it was caught. A wall would not have stopped this. And Rich Bowser says, just think if there was a wall up, they would have to try to get this through a port of entry. Nice. Now, Sal Nichols says, wait, it didn't try to sneak across the unprotected desert and turn left or right with the fentanyl bound in blue tape. It was nabbed at a crossing point, making our point about walls. Thank you. Jay Hooper says, at a port of entry, so a wall wouldn't have stopped it. Border Patrol stopped it. Why not invest $5 million, maybe he said billion, but I'll take $5 million, in Border Patrol? That's what Democrats are trying to do. The Democratic position is, okay, let's give you some money. We can give you $2.3 billion today, right? to invest in border security. Things like more border agents, I would say more immigration judges, if your problem actually is with immigration. And I think there is a humanitarian crisis going on at the border. We need to process asylum seekers a lot faster and actually not put them in jail. So that's what I would do. And that's actually what the smart position would be, is to say, okay, let's have some more resources and solve some of the problems at once. You want to stop drugs at the border? Well, I do too. I don't want drugs coming in. So now, obviously, the biggest way to stop drugs is to stop the demand for drugs in America. And I think we can do that. We can't really stop the demand for drugs, but what we can do is we can legalize them, right? So legalize or decriminalize drugs, and that actually does end up reducing demand for some of these drugs. I know it seems counterintuitive. I know it seems really strange, but it actually reduces the demand for black market drugs. I know it's crazy, but there's more. Let's see. Respect the Truth says, proving once again that what we have in place at the border is working. So that's an important point to make. Dim Whitman says, port of entry, huh? Good argument to be made for not needing a wall. Thanks. Your boss will be proud of your work. Thor Benson says, the fentanyl was seized at a legal entry point as usual. For further evidence, the wall is an idiotic idea. So, look, all that stuff, those are some great responses, some great tweets on this, and it's absolutely true. Way to go, Kellyanne Conway. You basically just said that you really didn't need a wall. Now, what's also basically making the point against the wall is when Trump comes out and he talks about the fentanyl bust. And he says, Border Patrol doing such a tremendous job protecting our borders. Well, if they're doing such a tremendous job, then there really isn't a state of emergency. And that's the thing. President Trump wants to build a wall because he says, well, we're under a state of emergency. We've got an emergency at the border. We need a wall to protect that, to stop that problem, to solve that emergency. But wait, if we're actually making these busts and we're actually making the border safe, then there is no emergency. And so I love when they come out and they completely contradict the need for this ridiculous wall. At the end of the day, of course, you all know where it is or what this is all about. This is all about Donald Trump's ego, getting his own way, making sure to shore up his base, because right now he is spiraling the drain and he needs some sort of win. Well, if he wanted a win on the wall, he would have done this 2 years ago. Instead, what did they do? They took the time to make sure to cut their own taxes and taxes for corporations, the donors, and his cronies. That's what they really cared about. It's not about border security. It's about a vanity wall, and that's all. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on, and you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.